To be showing you how to make some resurrection rolls for Easter. So here's what you're going to need. Some marshmallows. These are those big kind of marshmallows. Some butter. Ground cinnamon. Croissants. And some sugar. So let's get started. The first thing that we're gonna need to do is go wash your hands. So I actually just finished washing my hands so I can get started. Moms and dads, we are going to need help opening up our croissants and laying them out so that everyone gets one piece. We are also going to need to melt some of our butter. So that can be done by just cutting a piece off and sticking that in the microwave for a few seconds at a time to make sure that it doesn't pop, but that it is nice and melted. Parents, please preheat the oven to 350 degrees. So when we have our croissants like this, we're gonna roll them out and we are going to pull them apart so that they are in their triangle shapes like this. Next, we're gonna take a bowl and we're gonna take our sugar and pour that in. As much as you want, because some of you might be making a lot of resurrection eggs and some of you might only be making a few. Then next we're gonna take our cinnamon and we're gonna sprinkle that in. Then we are going to mix those together. It's up to you how much cinnamon or how much sugar you'd like to put in, but that is going to be for one of our ingredients. My mom always taught me just take a little bit of butter on the outside and spread that around. Now in our story, we are going to be using these marshmallows to represent Jesus. So we have to remember, Jesus died on the cross on Good Friday for all of our sins. But they did something special with the body when they took it down. They took Jesus and they anointed him with oil. So we are going to take this butter, which looks like oil now, right? And we are going to dip our marshmallow in the butter and cover the whole thing. Think about that like covering Jesus's body in oil. Then the next thing that they would do is they would take very sweet smelling spices. So we have cinnamon, which is a spice, and sugar, which is very sweet. So we are going to also take Jesus's body and put those spices on it. So dip it in, cover all of the different sides. So now we have Jesus's body covered in spices and oil. The next thing that they would do is they would take cloth and wrap it around the body. So this is going to be our cloth. Take your Jesus, put him in the middle, and wrap him up, but make sure that all of the sides get sealed. So I'm gonna pinch off on these sides to get this sealed off, and this side right here, until the whole thing is completely sealed up. You can make it look like a ball because Jesus was put in a tomb. And we remember in our Easter story that there was a rock covering the entrance of the tomb. So this can represent the tomb, but it also can remind us of the rock. The next thing that we're gonna do is we are going to place our empty tomb rolls onto our already greased cookie sheet. We take the body of Jesus, we anoint it in the oil. And then we cover it in the sweet smelling spices. If you are gluten-free and you are unable to do this section, it is totally fine to do just this beginning part and eat these as a tasty treat. Then we are going to take the cloth and wrap Jesus in the cloth, making sure that any sides we pinch to close off. We then turn it into a ball representing our tomb, or you can also think about that rock. And we take it over and place it on the cookie sheet. Next, with our parents' help, we are going to open the oven. It looks pretty dark inside. We're gonna take our empty tomb rolls and place them in the oven and close the door, just like what happened to Jesus' body in the tomb. We're gonna leave it in there for about 10 to 12 minutes. So start your timer now. Meanwhile, I'm gonna read you a Bible verse. My First Story of Easter, written by Tim Dowley and illustrated by Roger Langdon. Jesus of Nazareth was a friend of many. He told great stories, healed sick people, and did wonderful miracles. There is an important festival in Jerusalem. Jesus went with his 12 special friends, his disciples. Jesus borrowed a donkey and rode into Jerusalem. The crowd became very excited. They shouted and waved palm tree branches. Look at all of them celebrating Jesus. But some of the priests hated Jesus and plotted to kill him. One day of the festival, Jesus ate a special supper with his disciples in an upstairs room. Jesus broke bread and gave it to his disciples, but one disciple, Judas, was plotting against him and crept out. After supper, Jesus took his disciples to a garden outside of the city. "Stay here and pray," he told them. Jesus prayed too. Then a crowd of Jesus' enemies appeared, led by Judas. The soldiers took Jesus away. They stood Jesus before the Roman ruler Pilate. "Jesus is a troublemaker," said the priests. "He should be killed." "I can find nothing wrong with him," said Pilate. But the people shouted, "Kill him! Kill him!" So Pilate sent Jesus to die. Cruel men pushed a crown made of thorns onto Jesus' head. Then they led him out of the city. When they reached a hill, soldiers nailed Jesus to a wooden cross. They also fixed 2 robbers on crosses next to him. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them." One robber asked Jesus, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus said, "Today you will be with me in heaven." At midday, the sky went dark. Jesus cried out and died. Jesus' family and friends watched sadly. A good man called Joseph took Jesus' body. He put it in a rock tomb and rolled a huge stone across the door. Early on Sunday morning, women went to the tomb. The stone was rolled away, but they couldn't see Jesus' body anywhere. Suddenly, 2 shining men stood there. "Jesus isn't here," said one. "He's risen from the dead." The women rushed back to tell the disciples. At first, they didn't believe the women. But then Jesus appeared to them. And after this, Jesus appeared to many of his friends. One day, Jesus cooked breakfast for his disciples beside a lake. A few weeks later, Jesus was taken up into heaven again. The disciples watched. At Easter, we remember that Jesus died and that he is alive again forever. The timer went off, so now it's time to open up the dark tomb and see our empty tomb rolls. We're gonna pull those out and set them out to let them cool for the next few minutes. After it's done cooling, then we'll get a chance to eat them. So now we get to eat what we made. pick up your empty tomb roll and look at it. It still looks like a tomb, right? Or like a rock. But let's take a bite and see what's inside. Is our marshmallow Jesus still inside of there? That is really good. But let's take a look inside. Do you see your marshmallow Jesus? No, because it's completely empty inside. Look, that was a surprise. But that's exactly what happened in the story. When the women went there to go check on Jesus, he was not in there anymore, just like inside of our rolls. But the good news about that is that Jesus arose from the dead. He's alive, and that's what we celebrate here at Easter. So thank you so much for making these empty tomb rolls with me, and feel free to share this video with any of your friends and family because this is something that everyone can do. Have a wonderful Easter.